Diddy has had a long career of using pussy to trap niggas into making them do what he wants to do or using them to move them out the way. How does a woman with that much talent end up married to somebody like Stevie J?
For over 20 years, Faith Evans kept quiet. But now, as Diddy faces lawsuits that go deep into his past, Faith's name is showing up again in witness lists, in old testimonies, in leaked depositions. And this time, she is finally speaking out. And what she's confirming points to years of silence that may have been forced by contract, fear, or something darker.
Diddy told her he was going to kill Biggie. She knew it was going to happen. She was purposefully not by her husband's side that night. It happened, and she was told she had to lie about it. It's funny, when you ask Faith how long her and Biggie was together before they got married, the story changes every time. It was 10 days, it was 20 days, it was this days, it was that days. I'm not saying that she didn't develop feelings for him. I'm not saying that she didn't care about the father of her son. I'm saying she was hired for one job. Her being involved with Pac in the midst of all of that. But she didn't know Pac was Pac.
Faith Evans' story didn't begin in the spotlight. She was born in Newark, New Jersey, and raised by her grandparents. Her foundation was gospel, church choirs, soul harmonies, and strong roots. That upbringing gave her voice its depth and emotion. She wasn't chasing fame, she just wanted to sing. But fate had other plans. In 1994, Faith caught the attention of Sean Puff Daddy Combs. At the time, he was building Bad Boy Records from the ground up. Faith became the first female artist he signed, the label's first lady. It was more than just a title. Puff saw her as the bridge between hip-hop and R&B. She could soften the edges of a label known for street anthems. And she did. Hits like You Used to Love Me gave Bad Boy real radio power. But her career quickly got tangled in the personal. Just weeks after meeting the notorious B.I.G., she married him. Their chemistry was undeniable. But so were the problems. Biggie was already deep into the lifestyle, women, weed, and rising fame. Faith was trying to balance a career and a rocky marriage. Then came the Tupac situation. In 1995, tensions between East and West Coast hip-hop were escalating. When Tupac got shot at Quad Studios, he blamed Biggie and Puffy. Then Tupac claimed he'd slept with Faith. That bombshell lyric and Hit 'Em Up, it flipped the culture upside down. Faith denied it, but fans remember she was seen with Pac in the studio just before that. People didn't know what to believe. Then in March 1997, tragedy hit. Biggie was gunned down in Los Angeles after leaving a party hosted by Puffy. That night shattered hip-hop, and from that moment on, questions began swirling. Who Biggie? Why was he even in LA during a time of high tension? Was it random, or was something else behind it? Faith was devastated, but she didn't talk much. She focused on raising her son and making music. But fans were left with unanswered questions. Why did Biggie's crew seem so unprepared that night? Why was there no real progress in the murder case? And why did Faith, who was married to him, never speak up? For years, her name stayed out of the theories. People assumed she was just another victim of a broken system. But as more time passed, some started looking closer. She wasn't just Biggie's widow. She had been part of Bad Boy's inner circle. And now, decades later, the silence around her is starting to crack.
Puffy gave you your start. Now P. Diddy.
Yes.
Well, how do you think of him? P. Diddy or
I
Puffy?
still call him Puff.
You still call him Puff? So he gave you your start, and you're still great friends?
Yeah, I actually saw him the other night. I stopped by a studio session he was at to tell him that I wanted him to come to my show at the House of Blues next week. So, yeah, we keep in touch. He sends my kids Christmas gifts every year, and you know, we don't talk all the time, but the line of communication is open. You know, we text and email, and he invites me to his events and vice versa.
He and I have the same birthday, and
Oh,
we're in the liquor
really?
business. So yeah, I feel like we have a couple things in common.
Oh wow, you know
Yeah.
how to party like him too?
I can party pretty nicely.
Oh, he knows
yeah.
how to party.
I mean, I don't know how he knows how to party, but
In the past year, Diddy's world has started to fall apart. Lawsuit after lawsuit has surfaced. The allegations go far beyond music, manipulation, violence, and even trafficking. And what's even more disturbing, these claims aren't just from strangers, they're from people who once trusted him, people who were close. As Diddy scrambles to protect his image, the industry is being forced to confront what many ignored for years, and as investigators dig deeper, names from the past are being brought up again. Faith Evans is one of them. She wasn't just a featured voice. She was part of the emotional and financial foundation of Bad Boy. She knew the people. She was in the office, in the meetings, in the homes. She grieved with Diddy. She stayed loyal, and now people are wondering, did she see the signs? Why didn't she ever speak out? Was she afraid? Was she under pressure? Or did she know more than she ever let on? As old footage and legal documents resurface, there's a renewed focus on the original circle that helped build Bad Boy. Face interviews, her early contract struggles, even her public support of Diddy after Biggie's death, it's all being re-examined. And her silence now feels less like grief and more like a strategy. But what really shook fans came from a voice that's no longer here. A posthumous detail that's forcing everyone to reframe the past. In September 2024, a book hit the shelves that nobody expected, and everybody started talking about. It wasn't officially authored by Lick, but it was promoted as a memoir based on her private journals. The ghostwriter claimed to have access to Kim's unfiltered experiences from the 90s S, and what came out of those pages blew the lid off a decades-old rumor. One quote stopped everyone cold. "That's why I sent you to F with Tupac." That line was said by Diddy to Faith Evans. The book claimed that Faith didn't just cross paths with Tupac by coincidence. It suggested she was sent by Diddy to get close to him, and not just in a friendly way. The implication was that her interactions with Pac were part of a bigger plan. Now remember, Tupac himself once suggested something similar. He believed people around him were trying to set him up. He didn't trust Faith, he didn't trust Bad Boy, and in his songs he made sure the world knew it. But hearing this alleged quote in Lil' Kim's supposed memoir brought the theory back in full force. Faith wasn't having it. She released a statement calling the book fictional trash, said it was disrespectful to everyone involved, especially Biggie. She denied ever being sent to Tupac, called the whole thing disgusting, and even threatened to sue. But the damage was already done. Fans online didn't care about legal threats, they cared about what sounded true. And in the middle of Diddy's legal chaos, the timing of this revelation made it even harder to ignore. For years, Faith was the grieving widow, the soulful singer, but now people were questioning if there was another side, one that played a role in the game behind the scenes. And when smoke keeps coming from the same place, there's usually fire.
He said if Faith had twins, she probably had Tupac.
He did. I had to take Big to the doctor for something. Him and Steve's were in the car with me and I'm driving. And Big played me this Jay-Z song.
Coolio mean it's getting too high. If Faith have twins, she probably have Tupac.
Time to separate the pros from the cons.
I know for a fact that line wasn't on it, but he was playing me the thing. He may have been writing to it, I don't know. But when I heard the actual song a couple months later, and I just was looking at him like, with that look of disgust, like, what are you gonna tell your child? Like, that's on record. And he just started crying, like, I'm sorry. I was under pressure. People was just talking shit.
So that was a shot at you almost.
Yes, it was.
Okay, he threw a shot at you.
He did, and
I claim to be a player, but I bust your wife. We bust on Bad Boys, brothers touch for life.
After Biggie passed away, Faith's life turned into something she barely recognized. There were tribute shows, interviews, label appearances, and all of it pushed by Diddy. One of the biggest moments? The song I'll Be Missing You. It was a global hit. It was everywhere. People saw Faith on stage crying, singing the hook. But what they didn't know, she didn't even want to do it. Years later, Faith admitted that she was pushed into the studio. She wasn't ready, she was grieving, but Diddy said it had to be done. He said the world needed it, and when the song blew up, millions of dollars came in, but Faith says she saw almost none of it. She began noticing patterns, contracts that didn't add up, royalty checks that were smaller than expected, and the way Diddy kept artists close but never equal. She wasn't the only one. Mace came forward, the Locks came forward. Mark Curry claimed artists were treated like disposable talent, that Diddy built empires off their backs while keeping them broke and dependent. But Faith kept it quiet. For years, she played the loyal role. She didn't complain publicly. She didn't trash talk the label. Maybe she was trying to protect her career. Or maybe she was scared of the fallout. Eventually, though, the truth started bubbling up. Faith had to admit she felt used. Not just as an artist, but as a symbol. The grieving wife, the angelic voice of Bad Boy. But behind the scenes, she was just another name in a long line of people who got the short end of the deal. And just when she thought the worst was behind her, her personal life took another hit.
When Stevie J started messing around with Faith, I knew allegedly the drugs had got to her and the drugs had got to him. Is no way in hell corny ass Stevie J, cornball ass Stevie J, was anybody that I could ever see after knowing the dudes that Faith used to be around and used to be with. Now she's dealing with Stevie J. Yo, bruh, cocaine is a hell of a drug. It's a hell of a drug.
In 2020, Faith Evans' personal life hit another low point. Police were called to her home after a domestic dispute with her then-husband, Stevie J. Reports said things turned physical. Faith was arrested and booked on felony charges for allegedly attacking him. It shocked fans. This wasn't the image most people associated with the woman who once sang gospel and stood beside Biggie. But just like that, her name was back in the headlines. And that was just the beginning. By 2023, Faith and Stevie J's relationship had been completely exposed. What started as a surprise marriage back in 2018 ended in a messy divorce. Stevie accused her of cheating. Faith claimed emotional exhaustion. Court documents hinted at betrayal, financial drama, and deep mistrust. It was public, painful, and added yet another layer to Faith's already complicated image. But even with all that going on, Diddy's name never seemed far. That was the part fans couldn't ignore. Because while artists like Mace, The Locks, and even Mark Curry started openly speaking out about their issues with Diddy, Faith stayed quiet, even when things got ugly. Even when lawsuits exposed dark stories and horrifying allegations, she stood her ground, she stayed connected. Was that loyalty or was it something else? That's the real question now, because some believe Faith wasn't just being loyal out of love or respect, that staying close to Diddy might have been the only way to protect herself. After all, they came up together. He discovered her, managed her, knew her life inside and out. And with all the secrets floating around now, people are wondering, did Diddy know too much about her to risk going against him? A person tweeted saying, Faith always moved like she knew where the secrets were buried. You don't stay that close to Diddy for decades and not know something. Another one added, she's not innocent. She was there for everything. The Diddy trial has brought a lot of names into the light, but Faith's name has mostly stayed in the background. She hasn't testified. She hasn't spoken publicly. She's not a plaintiff or a defendant, but her name keeps getting whispered again and again. Not as someone seeking justice, not as someone getting exposed, but as someone who might be holding on to secrets that could shift everything. And maybe that's the scariest truth of all. What do you guys think? Is Faith just another woman caught in Diddy's chaos? Or is there more to her story than we've ever been told? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want the full timeline of Diddy's downfall, make sure you're subscribed because the next chapter is coming fast.